Alto pushed through the heavy foliage. The bard was good and lost. He looked about, but all he could see were trees, and that told him nothing. Oh, that one had needles, and those had leaves. After that, the musician knew nothing. He was tired, and sore, and hungry, and thirsty, and the list went on and on. He was miserable out in the middle of the forest. This wasn't like camping with his father. He honestly hated being in the wilds. That's why he worked in town, in taverns, and festivals. Not here. The bugs were trying to eat him alive, and he was sure that they were getting bigger. Pushing through the trees, he found himself before a large lake. His tongue was dry, and he forced himself up to the lake edge. Kneeling down, he cupped his hands. Before he could bring the cool liquid to his mouth, something burst forth from the water. It was long, and towered above the lost bard. A moment later, a second creature swooped down over him. Welcome back to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. Today, we have a double feature with two creatures rooted in African legend. The Mokele-Mbembe and the Kongamato. Let's take a look at how two prehistoric creatures have made their way into African mythology. There are many creatures which share similar ideas, even if they look nothing alike. That includes Mokele-Mbembe and Kongamato. The only real difference in these two creatures is their appearance, but everything else is the same. So I either could do two separate videos which are nearly identical, or do a double feature. Both of these creatures have tails stretching back centuries. The Mokele-Mbembe is said to be a brown-green color, with smooth skin, and about the size of an elephant. It has a long, thick tail like an alligator, and a long, slender, flexible neck. It has a small head on top, with only a single tooth in its mouth. Its name in Lingala means one that stops the flow of the rivers. You see, they are found living in rivers, able to submerge themselves full and swim underwater, but they do have legs and can walk. They live in caves that are close to rivers or flows with the water. It lives in the Congo River basin, normally in deep jungles with few people. If this description sounds familiar, the Mokele-Mbembe happens to look like a sauropod, such as a small brachiosaur. As for Kongamato, it is a flying creature with a wingspan of about 5 feet, but there are claims it grows much bigger, up to 100-foot wingspan, but that is much rarer. It has a red color across its body and membranous wings. It has a large toothed beak, claws on its feet, and some say a few on its wings. It feeds on fish, scavenges on fresh graves, and occasionally attacks humans. To do this, it will flip over canoes and prey on the locals when they struggle to swim. It is said to live around Zimbabwe and the Congo. This one is said to resemble a petrosaur. Okay, do you see why I'm looking at doing both of them together? Both resemble prehistoric creatures. There is perfect fossil evidence that these creatures do exist. There is no mysteries to its anatomy. But there is a problem. The sauropods and the petrosaurs both lived until the end of the Cretaceous. So both animals lived around the same time and then died out in the KT or KPG extinction event about 66 million years ago. Okay, so how do we get a member of a species from millions of years ago to exist in the modern era? This includes animals like alligators, sharks, and coelacanths. All animals that exist at the same time as sauropods and petrosaurs. So yes, it is conceptually possible for a species to survive that long. Did these two as well? But why do all those other animals die out? Well, simply put, they weren't able to adapt to the changes in the environment. Both sharks and coelacanths live in the ocean, where its temperature and environment is more stable. Alligators are widespread, and on just about every continent except Antarctica. They also prey on most other animals, meaning if they lose one prey species, they aren't ruined. Fish, birds, mammals, and other reptiles are all on the menu. This is part of what could ruin a sauropod. Their large size means that they need a lot of food, and with their neck design, they are specialized for foraging on tall trees. Trees which became less common with the KPG event. There are many theories and events tied together, but a prominent one was a massive asteroid strike in what is now Mexico. This event caused a major change in the flora worldwide and reduced the number of trees. If the sauropod could adapt to ground scavenging such as ferns, smaller ones could get by but would be reaching down rather than up. This means competing with more animals. As for petrosaurs, their problem was competition from the increase in avian species that followed. Their early feathers were better able to withstand the decrease in the temperature after the asteroid. At their small size, food wouldn't be an issue. They could prey on rodents, primates, lizards, snakes, fish, and whatnot. To outcompete the early birds, a petrosaur would need to stay somewhere that remains warm, near the equator. So, if our two species of dinosaurs can deal with these issues, then under that condition, they could survive the KPG extinction event. To keep them from evolving further, they'll need to find a niche to fill. For sauropods, returning to the treetop diet is the answer. Currently, this area is only filled by giraffes. As for the petrosaur, they'll have more competition, but can serve as a large aerial predator and avoid alligator and hippos while hunting. But the Ice Age is still going to be an issue. Not all the planet was covered in ice. Africa was one place that was mostly unbothered by it. That's a point for all cryptids. There is one major issue. That is their population. How many are we going to need to maintain a stable population? This is called the minimal viable population. If you remove inbreeding depression, you can get by with 500 to 1,000 members of the species, but not for millions of years. Dangerous mutations and deleterious genes will flare up and cause the population to drop. To correct this for a few generations, you'll need at least 4,000 individuals, more for the long term. So it is conceptually feasible, but extremely low odds, particularly if they are to remain hidden. Of course, that is assuming that there isn't some massive cave filled with prehistoric species hiding away inside. Someday, I'll do a video going over how to make a journey to the center of the earth style ecosystem, but that might be an option of what is going on here, especially when both are found in overlapping areas. After that, we can pinpoint the probable species. Well, for sauropods, the smallest was Mokele-Mbembe, which was about 20 feet or 6 meters long, and Dinosaurs, about 13 feet or 4 meters. But that was in the Jurassic era. This would be a little smaller than the Mokele-Mbembe, but a possible match, except these were found in Romania, in Europe. There aren't any species of similar size in Africa's fossil record that I could find, so what we do get was a small amount of evolution, shrinking a different sauropod down a little. With petrosaurs, it is more difficult. The smallest are about 10-inch wingspans, with the biggest being up to a 50-foot wingspan, most on the smaller side. We've got some range here, but the flying fox bat is about the same size as the Kongamato, so a 5-foot wingspan would give us a 2.2-pound animal that has a body length of 16 inches. So, how did the people of Africa come up with such a creature? Well, for Mokele-Mbembe, either an elephant or a giraffe could be mistaken for one while it is in the water. For Kongamato, well, we have the flying fox bat, which can easily be mistaken. You could also figure that the African people have found fossils over the centuries and were able to discern what they may have been like by comparing them to other animals of their age. To combat the Mokele-Mbembe, the first thing is where the fight takes place, on the river. Chances are that you'll be on a boat or fighting from the shore. You want weapons for range. A strong bow might be able to pierce the hide, but a good spear may work better. If you are using a sword, the neck will be a big weak point, and our sauropod has only a few ways to attack, swinging its long neck or tail. One is a target, and the other isn't. You'll probably get knocked down if struck. On land, it will stomp on you. Stay away from the feet. Armor won't help you. With magic, lightning will be the best option, particularly while it is in the water. With fire, you can boil the water, and ice can freeze it in place. I don't know how potent ice can be, because the argument over whether dinosaurs are warm or cold-blooded is still up for discussion. Mokele-Mbembe is a strange foe, and one I am giving a 4 out of 10 for difficulty 4. Its greatest asset is its size. The best option would be to follow it back to its cavern lair and strike there, attack while it is asleep. It isn't a hostile animal. Most injuries are the result of mistakes of people getting too close. With Kongamato, the fight is different. It will swoop down on you. You'll be able to make do with any armor. Gambeson, chainmail, and plate are perfect. It will need to bite you, but keep it away from your throat. It will bite anywhere else without too much damage. Oh, it'll hurt like the dickens, but unlikely to be fatal. It has a massive weakness in its large membranous wings. If you can tear those, it will be grounded and easy to counter. This can be done with a spear or arrow while airborne. You can also use magic to fling ice spikes or rocks. Fire and lightning will damage its tissue and cause it to fall. One option would be to use a net in battle. Throw it wide and bring it down. You'll want to use a mace or sword when it swoops down. It'll give you the widest range of attack in melee. It's best known for attacking people while on boats. It probably doesn't have the size and strength to actually flip the canoe over. Instead, what makes it flip is the surprise of the crew. If it tries and capsize you, it can plunge a short distance into the water. If you come up under the canoe, you'll be safe. If you do surface elsewhere, be ready for it to dive at you. I can't tell if the Kongamato come in packs or not, but it wouldn't be unlikely. They are small and quick. They can flit through tight corners and heavy jungle. Agility will be their best asset here. Overall, the Kongamato's strength depends on its size. With most of them being smaller, I can only offer a 3 of 10 for difficulty. It can't fight back while airborne, and most aren't big enough to pose a major threat. But that number will go up with larger specimens. The skin of both Mokele-Mbembe and Kongamato can be used to make leather armor, shields, lining for boats and tents, and bags. Their meat is delicious, and there are plenty of recipes. Do you have any to share? Lastly, there are the bones, which are useful in a variety of tools and other creations. In theory, both of these animals can be domesticated. You'll want to find their eggs and raise them from hatchlings. If you don't eat the eggs, you'll want to keep them warm. Edit. You'll want to replicate their natural nest. Raising a Mokele-Mbembe will take years, much less for the Kongamato. Alto ran as the Mokele-Mbembe stepped from the lake. Its long neck stretched out over the trees before it munched on the top leaves. Its great size terrified the small musician. He was no match to such a great animal. He fled. His movements drew the attention of the Kongamato. A small flock of them swarmed him. They nipped at his clothes, exposed skin, and hair. He flapped his hands about to ward them off, a futile attempt which only aggravated them. They squawked and pestered Alto to move faster. In pain, he escaped back into the forest once more. He was gasping about, but he kept running, onward and blindly. The Mokele-Mbembe and Kongamato are interesting creatures with curious origins. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next week, where we shall meet the Manticore. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.